Hello, everyone. My guest today is Daniel Nissan. He's a channel sales and marketing expert, entrepreneur, and president and CEO at Structured Web. Daniel, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely.
All right. Tell us about,
Nathan.
You bet. Tell us about Structured Web. What do you guys do and how do you make money?
So Structured Web is the market leader in channel marketing automation software. We help large global enterprises to equip their local resellers with ready-made marketing content and marketing tools to execute marketing at the local level. Most of our customers at the moment are large tech companies that have resellers, dealers, agents in a variety of countries, and they are the primary users of our system.
And is it a pure play SaaS model?
It's a pure play SaaS model, and channel partners get it as a service at no cost, fully subsidized by their brands that provide them the service.
Interesting. So what's the average customer pay per month, just to avoid going down every different cohort?
The prices are varied based on the number of channel partners they have on the platform, and it can vary from anywhere from $5,000 a month to over $100,000 a month.
Okay, give me an average though, would you say?
I would say $20,000.
Okay, and give me more of the backstory here. When did you launch the company and why start a company at all?
That's a good question. So I started this company in 1999.
99? My gosh, 99. Daniel.
Yeah.
You have the patience of a grasshopper.
It's an overnight success.
Yeah, right? That's what they all say.
Yes. The idea was when the internet was booming at that time, I saw a lot of small businesses trying to set their online presence and everybody trying to reinvent the wheel. So I said, why won't I create a company where we create a templatized website for different industries with different functionality, and we'll keep that functionality evolving as the internet continued to evolve. We didn't know what's going to be available later on, but we knew that the technology is moving very quick. So we focused on small businesses in the same group, and we tried different industries. We tried chiropractors, and that was in 2000. We tried to sell them, says, what is internet? And I don't have a connection even to UC you're offering. So we moved from that. We moved to travel agents. And there we had a great product with distribution. We had a lot of travel vendors subsidizing the offer, and we launched it on September 9th, 2001.
Yep. Fascinating. Now, have you bootstrapped the company or have you raised?
We raised money then, and since then we bootstrapped the company. So after the travel was not successful, we tried other resellers. We found
how much? Real quick, Daniel, how much have you raised total?
We raised $5.7 million in equity. And we have about a few $1 million in debt as well.
Okay, the 5.7 in equity that you raised back in the early 2000s, are those folks still on the cap table or have you bought them out?
No, still on the cap table, very supportive, very friendly investors.
How are they patient for over 17 years? How have you held them back?
Just a full dedication to the business, full transparency. And they do understand that sometimes things go immediately, sometimes they go busted, and sometimes it just takes more time. Late bloomer.
That's great. You're a lucky guy. Maybe I'll say you're a smart guy because you picked the right people, right?
Yep.
All right. What have you
But luck is also important.
What is?
I said luck is also important.
Yeah. What have you scaled to today in terms of total customers using you?
We have a few dozen customers and global users of over 100,000 businesses using Structured Web. Okay. So each one of our customers give it to hundreds and thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of their channel partners globally.
So when you say a couple dozen, can we say like 36, something like that?
Something like that.
Okay. Can I multiply that times the $20,000 ACV and assume you guys are doing $700,000 a month, something like that?
Yeah, that's
in that range.
Calculation, yeah. Okay. Without getting, I don't know how publicly this podcast is, so we don't want to disclose too much information on a public podcast.
What does that mean? Have you listened to an episode before?
No.
Come on, Daniel. That's your own fault, man. The podcast is downloaded by like 5 million people every month. So it goes out all over. I interview B2B SaaS CEOs every day. But just to be clear, I want to make sure, those are just numbers that you gave me that I'm multiplying 36 times 20 grand. Are you generally in that 700 range?
That's the right calculation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. That's fair. And then what are you growing at year over year?
Year over year, last year, and our plan for 2018 is about 30% growth year over year.
That's pretty healthy. So you were doing what, about 600 grand a month 12 months ago?
Something like that.
Yeah. That would be 20% growth. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And what's driving most of the growth? How are you finding new customers? Where are you getting them?
we do a lot of marketing activities, both online and offline, trade shows, industry events. We have our own online marketing, Google advertising. We have a lot of referrals, so it's a relatively closed, small industry. The tech industry, we're talking about few thousand companies or people in the industry share information. They go to industry analysts and ask for the short list of companies to talk to, and we typically will be on that short list of companies they consider.
What kickback do you pay to your partners?
We don't.
You don't. It's totally free. Interesting. Do you do any paid marketing?
Paid marketing, yes. We do, as I said, we do Google advertising, we do trade shows, we do events, we do direct mail sometimes. For that, we pay. But for any referral partners, no, we don't pay for that.
Which conference has been most successful for you in terms of lead generation?
Anyone that is channel focused. So because we deal with the channel industry, so we go where you can find channel chiefs. Those are the typical leader in the channel marketing, channel sales. So we try to be very industry specific, and then to go to broad conferences about like marketing automation business application. Channel visionary is one of them. And
channel visionary.
Visionary, yeah. And channel focus is another one. So those are small industry events that typically will have few hundred channel executives, mid-level executive to high-level executive, and that's where you really can create meaningful engagement and conversation with potential buyers.
And you're paying what, 20, 30 grand to sponsor each of these?
That's about the right amount, yeah.
Interesting. Altogether, when you add up all your paid spend, what % are you spending on that relative to your revenue each month about?
We don't look at it that way. We look at the amount of money we spend against new revenue that we generate. And typically it's about 1-to-1. So for every dollar we invest, we would generate $1 in the same year that we invested that.
That's a pretty healthy kind of flywheel there.
Yeah, we have very good return, much higher than the average that you find in the industry of dollar invested to first year ACV growth.
Yeah, it's usually 1.2, 1.5, something like that. It takes a little longer. Do you look at payback period or no?
We do, and I said we typically see the return in the first year of the customer acquisition.
The reason I asked
revenue-wise, not profit-wise.
I was going to say those numbers are not always the same. So some people will look at payback period and they'll multiply gross margin on the end of it versus the number you gave me. Typically, people don't consider gross margin. It's $1 in. How long does it take to get a new $1 of ARR?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, tell me more about the team. What's the team size today?
We have total 50 people.
50?
50, yes.
Based where?
Mostly in New York City.
Okay.
That's where our headquarters is. And we have also people spread around the world. Some of them are in support services. Some of them are in development. Some of them in content management. So we do leverage a global presence also because we have global customer base that need global support with languages and time zones.
Interesting. Let me ask you a question. Holding that 1-to-1 ratio you just gave me earlier, that's great if you can get, one new customer there, but in order to scale, you have to get more aggressive. How much money can you spend and still hold that ratio in your current acquisition channels?
It's a good question. I don't know the number right off my head.
This is the tough part, right? You can find a pocket of money with super healthy economics, but how long does it scale until diminishing returns kick in?
I think we can scale it pretty nicely at this rate because the revenue that we generate really required more cash flow to subsidize or to pay for kind of the credit that we give for our customers, but because our customers very large, well-established enterprises, we can continue to find working capital to subsidize the gap between the time that we expense to the income that we receive from our customers.
Yep. And look, if you have
There's more cash flow management than other kind of a profit and loss issue.
Got it. Look, if you have a $20,000 monthly kind of average or 240 grand a year and you have that 1-to-1 ratio, you can spend up to 240 grand to acquire these guys. That's how big they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. How many of the 50 on your team are inside sales folks?
We have the total sales team that we have is 3 people.
Okay, and what are their roles?
Director of sales, 2, and 1 is SDR, sales development rep.
So you don't, okay. And their day-to-day activities, do you rely heavily on inbound stuff or inside sales, or no, it's a different model they follow?
It's combination, but we do most of the leads that we get, the quality one, are inbound that are result of our different marketing activities.
Churn is always tough in a SaaS company. How do you manage churn? You have a large sample size to analyze, considering you've been around for a couple of years.
Dramatically, fanatically, whatever you want to title it, focus on customer success. And so we spend a lot of time, a lot of attention. There are some years that we grow or decide to grow slower and bring less customer to make sure that the existing customers are happy. That's the holy grail of any SaaS business, the retention. And very proud to say that we finished 2017 and we lost a single customer. So we were almost a 99% retention rate.
Now, how much revenue did that represent, though?
Very small. It was a small customer. And actually, because they didn't adopt and didn't grow, they churned from the customer base.
How significant? That, like 5% of revenue, 10%?
It was very less than that.
Less
very,
than 5.
Very small. Yeah.
Okay.
It was, and a customer had never adopted, so they never scaled beyond what we call the pilot period. And because our licenses are based on the number of partners that are using the system, if you don't scale beyond the initial 50, then the revenue is not significant. So it wasn't a big revenue loss, but we invest a lot in bringing those customers in. So every loss is a loss, and we try to learn from that and improve our adoption rate and onboarding process. So we end up very successfully with customers that continue beyond 3 months, 6 months, or a first-year pilot.
So Daniel, you lose last year. You lose less than 5% of your revenue, but you obviously drove expansion revenue. Were you at net negative revenue churn, and if so, by how much?
No, we were in positive.
Well, positive revenue churn would not be a good thing. If your expansion was greater than what you lost, you'd be net negative revenue churn, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I misunderstood your question.
That's okay.
So I don't know the answer to that.
It's a bunch of like backwards, forward stuff.
Yeah.
I have troubles all the time because I'm dyslexic with it. But I guess the easier way to ask the question is, how much expansion revenue do you drive from the current base?
I don't have the number right in my head.
You don't know. Okay, interesting. Yep. Do you know, though, if over the past 12 months, you gained more revenue by upselling current customers than that 5% of revenue that you lost from the one churned one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, interesting. Yep. Very good. Now, so how does you've been doing this for 20 years, right? How does a guy like you create wealth from his company?
You created it before.
Okay, got it.
So this is my 5th startup, and we had successful exits before. And I think part of building a startup is to understand that not always it's an overnight success, and you can build wealth and you can build a successful company over time. And not every company is meant to be sold 2-3 years later and move forward. I believe in this company. I believe in the vision. I also recognize that I started too early. I was the founder and CEO of NetGrocer, the first online nationwide supermarket back in 1996. And prior to that, I was part of the team that invented internet telephony, voice over IP, in 1993. So sometimes you're a bit early to the market. I recognize it with structured web after a while. And we build a strategy and focus and a very low burn rate to be able to manage and grow. And we think that when we see it with the revenue growth and customer growth and the profile of our customers, that now it's the right timing. So sometimes you have everything perfect. You have the right team, the right funding, the right vision, but the timing is wrong and the companies fail. We managed to say, okay, we understand the timing is not right.
Yep.
Let's wait. Let's find a way to stay in business.
Are you cash flow positive today?
Yeah.
Okay.
We raised, the last time we raised money was years ago.
So you're not burning capital?
No, we're generating capital.
That's great.
Yep.
Are you in talks to sell the company right now?
No, we think it's too early. The company still has a growth potential, and maybe in a few years.
All right, Daniel, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's the last business book you read?
Business book I read?
Yep.
Don't remember.
Okay, that's a no. Number 2, is there who's the last CEO you had dinner with in your town?
In my town, Jeff Leventhal. He's a very successful serial entrepreneur.
With which company is his latest?
His latest, Railworks.
Railworks, good. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool besides your own?
Trello.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6 to 7.
That's good. And what's your situation? Married, single, you have kiddos?
Married, 2 kids in college.
Oh, great. And how old are you?
50.
All right, Daniel, last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Nothing. I think the life is very interesting, and you go through it, and what you learn through life and what you expose through life, that's life.
There you guys have it from Daniel. He's got the patience of a grasshopper. I don't know if I could last 20 years at one company. I'm too, squirrel all over the place. 1999 founded Structured Web. They now have a team of 50. Again, helping channel partners really scale. They're serving 36 organizations that pay on average 20 grand per month. So somewhere in the $700 to $1,000 per month range right now, up from about 600 grand just 12 months ago per month. That's about 20% year over year growth. Super healthy economics, less than 5% gross revenue churn annually. Net revenue churn is negative, which is obviously healthy. Payback period less than 12 months. So again, economics look good, based up there in New York City, holding out. The time is right now. Daniel, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. And thank you for inviting me, Nathan.